Hey guys, so we should be live. If you could just let me know, can you hear me okay? Hey Beta Pop. Hello Comment Hamster. Mason Frank. Golden Kappa. Hey Danny. Hey guys. Okay, so this is our 1 year anniversary live stream. So that is really good. Hi from France and Australia. That is really cool. You hear us, that's great. That's really good. Mine keeps freezing up, so I'm hoping that the stream is smooth for you guys, but mine keeps looking like it's freezing up, so hopefully it will be okay. So can you guys believe that we have been on YouTube for 1 year? I certainly can't. Do you can you let me know in the comments who's been with us for the year or almost the year? That would be just so cool to know. We've got hi from the UK and hi from Canada. Danny, you're up way too late. You should be in bed. So, but I know that in the UK now it's about 11 o'clock, I think, if I've got that right. So, and I think, Danny, you're the Netherlands, are you? I'm not sure. Um, so yeah, the King of Animal Care, you've been here right from the beginning. Wow. Okay, well, that's very loyal. Thank you. Jack says the stream's coming through fine. That's great. Thank you. Johnny, you've been here a year. That's great. Gaming and betas almost a year. That is so cool that you've all been around that length of time. I honestly didn't think we'd be around for a year, but it's just turned into something we could never have imagined. So that has been really, really good. So hi from Florida. We're in Florida too. So hi from America. You've been here since 100 subs. That is so cool. Yes, it's 23:01 here in the UK. Yes, that is. That is. Yes. So, okay. So, if you've got any questions, then just go ahead and ask them. So, Tropical Tanker, you've been here for 9 months. That's really cool too. That's really, really cool. It's so good that so many of you have been around, seen a lot of changes, which is really, really good for us. We've had a lot of changes over the last year in our tanks, and obviously, in the hobby, you should always be learning and always growing. So that I think is a good thing. So Joshua Scott says, you showed me how to look after my fish, and now I've got a lot of fish, a 75-gallon tank and a beta community tank. Oh boy. I hope we're not responsible for all that, Joshua, but that is really good that you've got into the hobby, and I'm really glad that you've got into it. So,
you've gone offline.
Oh, very low output. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain a smooth stream. Have we gone?
Oh, you've come back on here.
Okay, I'm not showing us back on here.
It says loading. You're back.
She's back.
We're back.
Am I back? I'm not showing us I'm back, so am I? I'm showing us that there's no live stream happening. Oh, I am back?
You're
Okay.
back on here.
All right. Okay, well, further back, somebody asked, what's the dog called? This is Teddy. He is our toy poodle, and he is, I think, 9 years old now, so you don't really see a great deal of him. Usually, you usually see Lucy. My son does the Lucy videos, so am I still back now? We're still lagging. I'm back. Everyone's saying we're back. Okay, I don't know why we're lagging. Our Wi-Fi says all is good, so I'm not quite sure why it's still lagging. Rory Rant says, hi Teddy, can you say hi? Can you say hi back? Yeah? Okay. All right, let's get on here. So, your channel gave me courage to use sand in my tanks. Yeah, I must remember the first time we were using sand, I was a little apprehensive in how we would keep it clean, but it's actually a lot easier to use than people think. You've just got to be careful and make sure that you do mix it up well when you're doing the water changes, just so that there's no gas pockets get stuck in there. But on the whole, it is easy to use. So Let's see. I have a small Oranda and recently got a short tail right Ukin. My Oranda won't leave him alone, almost like rushing him. What can I do about that? It sounds like you've got a male and female, but it's not. That's not always the case. Excuse me. Very often, goldfish are usually pretty social, and but every now and again you can get one that will bully the others. So if it's getting too bad, I would actually take it out the tank and just see what happens. But see if one of them is displaying breeding stars, maybe, and you'll see them sort of like on the sides of the gills and down like the front fins. You'll see like these little white spots. I remember the first time we saw it, and I just absolutely freaked out because I thought it was white spots or ick, but it turned out it was breeding stars. So just see, you will see them sort of down the side of the head and also down the front fins as well. So just check that out, and maybe then if it is that you've got a male and female, then that's really all that's going on, and it should sort itself out usually within 24-48 hours. So but if not, then it may be that you've just got possibly a bully. So yeah, so just check that out and see if it's got the breeding stars. My grandma's dog lived till 19 and just passed away. Oh, I'm so sorry. That's a long time. Our other poodle that we had a miniature, and she just turned 18, and we lost her, I think it was like 2 years ago now. And then all the dogs that we have now, which is obviously this one and the other two, they are both, the girls are 10, I think, going on 10, and he's 9. So, okay, so Johnny says, you help me a lot with my fish care. I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you, Johnny. That's very kind of you. Fantastic Fish says hello. So hi. Oh, am I still coming and going, or are we good? Are we good, or am I still?
You're a bit behind,
but it's still, yeah.
I'm still,
I'm saying anymore. Okay, let's see.
It's gone offline.
What? Oh, now it says it's resumed. Oh, I don't know what's going on here. Okay, Julie says, I'm going to start using your DIY filter, but I have to wait until the valves come that I ordered. I also really want to start using live plants thanks to your channel. Oh, that's really good. That DIY filter we have found has been very, very effective. We've been using it now for probably about 6-7 months in one of our divided tanks, and it has really, really helped. So it is a filter I do recommend, especially for betta fish, because you can adjust the flow on it so much that it is a really good filter for that. But we do also use very small sponge filters as well in some of our tanks. Yes, the dog is really cute. This one is my baby. He absolutely loves his mommy and has to be everywhere I am. So yeah, he had a bath today, so he's looking extra curly today with his coat. So, am I still frozen?
Keep stopping and starting.
Oh dear me, I don't know what. Okay, Jack says, I've got a bit of a snail problem. Is it a good idea to use clown loaches to combat them? I also have cherry shrimp in there. It depends on your tank size, because clown loach get very large. So they need a minimum tank size of 75 gallons. You're probably better with something like assassin snails. They can take care of a snail problem. It depends how bad the problem is, but assassin snails would be a really good option. So, oh, we've got offline, it's back, offline. Oh dear me. Teddy is so cute. People think you are so cute. Yeah, they think you're so cute. Yeah. Okay, so are we still struggling? It looks like we're still. I don't know whether to start it and try again.
It's running right now, but
I'm showing us it's really
way
low
behind.
Yeah, really low output. I don't know why it's doing that, or whether it's YouTube or what. So everyone's saying you're a cute dog. He already knows that. He knows he's cute. You know you're cute, don't you? Okay guys, I don't know whether to stop this and try again because it's just lagging so much. I don't know whether to to try loading it again and see if it will come on again, because it just keeps coming and going. Hi, Love Beta. Thank you for your message about the test tube holders. I'm glad that you like them, and I'm glad they arrived in one piece. That's really good. Hey, Dion. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. Everyone, you should go check his channel out. He has a good channel. He's into cichlids, so if you're into cichlids, he is a good channel to follow. So thank you for your videos. I've learned so much from you guys in fish care. Thank you very much. I'm sure we don't get everything right, but we do try and be consistent, and people sure tell us when we're doing something wrong. So as I talked about in my last video, so Danny's saying everything's okay now. If it's lagging, try again. How is our newest beta Murphy doing? He is doing really, really well. I'm actually going to do an update video on him next week. Next Tuesday. I think that's what the video is going to be. And we may or may not have got some new beta fish, so we will be showing those as well. So, but yeah, he is doing really well. The treatment has worked very well. He's no longer under the treatment, and he is still clear. So I do think that we got rid of it, and it took about 3 weeks. So I probably will do a video on how to take care of Velvet, because that medication was very useful, and it certainly took care of the problem. Like I say, it was about 3 weeks, and he's been clear for about a week. So and then by the time the video comes out, it'll be longer than that. So yeah, so he is doing really well. So Sean, is it Sean? Sean says, Sean, sorry, hello, I love your videos, they're really helpful. Thank you very much. Thank you. I am so sorry to hear that, Alexis. Most of my fish died. Oh, that's so sad. We're not lagging anymore. That's really good. That's really good. Okay, so we are working. Fish keepers rock, and all we can do is try. I agree. That's so true. Yes, that's so true. Yeah. Okay. I'm almost at 500 subs. Yay, Neon Tetra Aquarius. You'll get there. You will get there. A lot of people sort of ask, how have we grown so quick, and what have we done to grow so quick? And I think the biggest thing is probably just to make sure that you upload consistently. It doesn't have to be every day, because we only do 1 or 2 videos a week, and that's all we've ever done. But if you're consistent with your uploading, then that does make a difference. But everyone's in it for different reasons. Initially, when we started out, we just thought we'd give it a go and just see, if it worked out, and if people responded to the videos. And obviously we were extremely surprised by the response that we've had. So we've just continued with it, and it's getting bigger every day, and we do enjoy what we do as well. So if you guys are not on Instagram, we are on Instagram, and we do post a lot of things on there that we don't on YouTube. So if you want some of the inside scoop, so to speak, then go on over to our Instagram. The links are always in the description box, so you'll be able to see them in that. So all right, what else have we got? I asked my mum if I can change my fake plants into real plants. And what did she say, Joshua? I mean, fake plants are okay as long as they're suitable for beta fish, but live plants are a lot of fun to work with. So Johnny asks, how is Gracie, the goldfish with one eye? She is doing amazingly well. I was so worried about her when it first happened, but she has not let it stop her at all. She still finds food, no problem whatsoever. She swims around with no problem whatsoever. We do keep the tank about the same. I don't move things around in it, but she's still got the other eye, so it's not like she can't see at all, but she's doing great. It's healed up really, really well, and if you sort of didn't know any different, you wouldn't really even notice that much, because it just blends in, because she's a calico anyway. It just blends in. So she looks quite cute, but it's sad, obviously, what's happened. So okay, so Abraham asks, how can a small 1 gallon tank affect a beta fish? The thing with smaller tanks is it's not so, well, I guess it does affect the beta fish. I mean, the thing with smaller tanks are if you're going to use a smaller tank, then you must keep up with the water changes. That's the biggest thing, because usually in the smaller tanks, you can't fit the filter and a heater, and they really do need the heater, unless, like us, you live somewhere where it's really hot and you don't need one all the year round. But you really do need the filter unless you're willing to do water changes every 2 to 3 days. So with a 1 gallon tank, whilst in my opinion it is too small, however, if you do choose to use one, then just be aware that it will take a lot more maintenance. That's the bottom line, really. So, okay, so let's see. Jack says hello. So hi, Jack. Beta love, Johnny. I was thinking about Gracie too. Yeah, like I said, she is doing really well. She is doing really, really well. So, okay. Alex says, I want to change my fake plants to real, but I don't want to throw out $80 worth of gravel. So you don't have to change the gravel out, Alec. You can just use regular gravel. The thing with live plants, a lot of people think that you have to have special substrate, and whilst some of our tanks we do use the Eco Complete, or we do use the Fluval Stratum, we do have the tanks with the sand, and you could just do it with plain gravel. You don't have to have the special substrates. What you do need to do, though, is to have the root tabs or use some sort of fertilizer, because the plants do need food. So if you're going to use, I mean, we use sand in several of our tanks, and obviously there's no nutritional value to the plants in that. And all we use are root tabs, and those plants are extremely healthy and they grow really well. So you can grow it in just regular gravel, but just make sure that you use, root tabs are fine. And the good thing with root tabs, we use the Flourish, but there are many different options, but we use the Flourish ones. And all you have to do is put them in every 2 to 3 months. So if you've, say, got a 10 or 20 gallon tank, then you would only need to put 2 or 3 of them in that tank every 2 to 3 months. That's all we do, and we have no issues whatsoever. So you don't need to do the special gravel. You can just stick with what you've got. Okay, I'm happy to hear that Murphy's doing good. That's good. All right, so Gaming Beta says, Life with Pets, my fish has fin rot, but we have 6 feet of snow and I can't go out and get aquarium salt. What should I do? Okay, the best thing you can do is do daily 100% water changes. That is the best thing you can do. Now, if you've got a tank that is cycled already, then that might be a bit of an issue. So I don't know if you've got another tank that you could maybe put them into while you do the 100% water changes, but that will help your fish if nothing else, because that would just make a difference in that the water is 100% clean for that period of time. And then obviously when you can go out and get something, then, and depending on the severity of the fin rot, then salt will not do anyway. A lot of people do use aquarium salt, and it does have a place in the hobby. I'm not saying it doesn't, but very often if the fin rot is really bad, then you ideally need medication. That would be the better way to go than just doing aquarium salt. But water changes at this point, that would make a big difference, because it would at least help stop any further rotting, and it would just help keep the fish more comfortable. Okay, let's see, what else do we have? I'm not quite sure how to pronounce your name, so I don't want to butcher it, but your videos have inspired me to dive into the aquarium hobby. Thank you so much. Well, thank you for that. It's so good to get feedback in just sort of the effect that the videos do have. It is nice to get that feedback. I do enjoy the feedback, and because obviously that tells us that we're doing the right thing, or we're going in the right direction with the channel. So, thank you for that. Live plants can grow in regular gravel. Yes, they can. No, you don't need aqua soil. When we first started with live plants, we had them just in gravel, and they grew really, really well. And like I say, we've got several tanks with just sand, and the plants grow amazing in the sand. If you try and think of it like this, yes, the special substrate would make a difference in that obviously it gives them all the nutrients they need. But having said that, if you're using something that doesn't like sand or regular gravel, and then you're just using root tabs or fertilizer, that will also give them what they need. So it works either way. I mean, people that are really heavily into plants, obviously they're going to use the aqua soil and the eco complete and fluval stratum and all these different things, and that is great because we do use them as well, but you don't have to use them for it to work. So maybe I'll do a video on that soon, in doing a gravel tank with just plants, because I don't want people to think that you can't grow them that way, because that's just going to discourage them. So, and obviously I don't want to do that, because we did start off with our first tank with the plants. If you go back and look at sort of our videos where they very first started coming out, we did only just use gravel, and we had sand in the tank as well, and the plants just grew amazingly. Obviously your lighting does help as well. In fact, somebody's asking about, for live plants, what type of lights do you use? We don't use anything special or anything fancy. We do use LED lights, and we use several different makes. We use the, I think it's Decky aquarium lights, and Beamswork, I think it is, aquarium lights. We use both of those, and we have found in all the tanks that we're using them, they do really well. When we had the girls sorority community tank set up, the light we used on that was an Aqueon LED light, and that did do a great job. However, I don't sort of recommend it as much anymore, only because that one was really expensive for what it was. So I would definitely check out the Decky lights and the Beamswork lights if you're just wanting something basic, and that is all we use, is something very, very basic. So that is a good option for the lighting. So you don't need to spend a ton of money unless you're going to go really, really high tech. But all our tanks are low tech, so we just use basic lighting. Okay. Where are we? I think it might have jumped up, so I apologise if I miss any questions, because I think my thing's just jumped up, so I'm just going to see if I can get it to go back down again. I've lost where we were now. Gosh, I am so far behind. All right, I think I found where I was now. But I apologise to anyone if I do miss your question. I apologise. This keeps moving up and I keep losing my space. So, okay, Andy, love your videos. I'm glad I found your channel. I love your DIY videos and love the tank cleaning and tank design videos. Thank you very much. We possibly will have some more of those coming soon. And as I said in my last video, we are just in the process of testing out a product, and we're hoping that in a few months we will have that ready to sell. A lot of you have been asking for it, so some of you might be able to guess what it is, but a lot of you have been asking for it. So all right, can you make a video on how you clean your beta divided tank? I actually think I do have one on the channel already, so if you just go on over and check that out. But I do think I have one on there in how we did it. But I will be doing some more on divided tanks. Actually, I'm going to do a series on divided tanks very soon. So, but yeah, go on over, and I think there is one on there. Yes, you're so right, Neil. Tesha Aquarius. We could have a whole conversation on that. Maybe we will do. Maybe I will do a topic video on different things. I was actually thinking of doing that, so maybe let me know in the chat or in the comments on this video what topics that you would like to cover in live streams, and maybe we can do some topical ones as opposed to sort of being right across the board. Okay, what kind of fish is good in a 2.5 gallon tank? I would say only a beta fish. Most other fish need much bigger tanks than that. So Laura, did you not get 2 new betas? I haven't shown any new betas just recently, so oh, did I not just get 2? No, I got Murphy. That was the last one we got, and then we have maybe or maybe not got some more. So, but I'll be showing those in the next video. So. Your beta has a tumour. Okay, tumours are very, very difficult. It's not usually something that you're going to be able to cure, but you will possibly be able to slow it down. And I can only really speak from the research that I've done and what I've heard others say, and that is that almond leaves are supposed to really, really help with that. So I would suggest that if you can get hold of those, we usually get them on Amazon, but I know you can get them lots of different places. We get most of our stuff on Amazon, but I know that you can get them from lots of different places. And again, it's a video I'm going to do on almond leaves because we've just made one of our divided tanks into a all natural, and we've done it with almond leaves, and now the tank just looks like a muddy pool of water, but that's what the almond leaves have done to it. But yeah, the almond leaves should really help, and they have a lot of good properties in them, so I would do that. And then I would also make sure that you keep your water parameters absolutely spot on all the time. That will help as well, but unfortunately it's not something that you can actually cure. Okay, so 2.5 is a minimum for a beta, but it would do well as a shrimp tam. Yes, I agree with that. Yes, it would. Shrimp are not something I think of because it's not something I've done just yet, but yeah, you're right. It could be a nano tank for shrimp as well. And you can put snails in if you wanted 1 or 2 snails, but with the snails you do need to remember that they do have a big bio load, so you would have to do a lot of water changes on that. Okay, my 3-gallon works for my blue shrimp. Have lots of babies. You do very well with your shrimp, Neon Tetra. Very, very well. In fact, you should go check his videos out if you're into shrimp. He has some really good videos with the shrimps as well. So, Abigail, how many gallons should a sorority? My personal opinion is 20. A lot of people would say the minimum is 10. My personal is 20, so I guess you could say between 10 and 20. But I personally would say 20, but that's just been from my experience. When we very, very first set up the sorority, we did try the girls in a 10-gallon, and it just did not work out, and it was extremely heavily planted. But as soon as we put them into the 20-gallon, we had no issues whatsoever. So I do know a lot of sororities do fail in 10 gallons, but then there are others that they are very successful. So I think a lot of it depends on how you plant it out, and again, it does depend on the females that you have, because let's face it, all beta fish are different and have different temperaments. So, but yeah, personally, I would say 20. Okay. I think 20-gallon is best. Oh yes, so somebody else is agreeing with me there. But yeah, like I say, a lot of it is down to personal opinion. But the thing with beta fish particularly is because they're so territorial, then they do need that space to have a territory. We've really found that in the 75-gallon, because now our girls are in the 75-gallon, and I have found that things are even better in there because they have a space that is their own territory, and if one sort of like strays into it, for the most part they'll tolerate them, but periodically one will chase another. So I do think that the more space they have for their territory is a good thing when you've got a group of them. So yeah, I would say 20 minimum, and obviously if you want to go bigger, you can go bigger as well. 20 long as well. Yeah, I do agree with the long and not the tall, because beta fish don't really like the tall tanks. They do prefer the more shallow. But again, we did the 75, which obviously is a lot taller. And what I found with that is because we have the water lettuce in there and the roots come way down, then the betas just hang out in that and they absolutely love it. So they don't seem to have too much of an issue with the depth. But if you're going to get a 20-gallon, I would recommend getting the long. Okay, 5 females minimum. Yeah, that does seem to be the general recommended, and it is what I would say as well. And again, it is what is generally recommended, minimum 5. And I have found through experience, when we actually lost one way back, when we had 5 and then we lost one, and we then were down to 4, and we did find that they did start bickering and things started changing. But as soon as we added a 5th one back in, everything went back to normal. So yeah, minimum 5 is preferable. But again, I know people that have done it with 4 and they have been successful. But I don't know of anyone under 4 where for a long period of time they've been successful. So minimum 5 definitely. Gaming Beta says, thank you. I love these live streams. Thank you for joining us. How many guppies should I put in a 30-gallon? Guppies are not really my thing, so I'm not really sure on that. I don't know whether somebody in the comments can answer that. I'm not really into guppies, so maybe somebody in the comments could answer that question for you. All right. Okay, how many get? Oh, so I've just done that one. Okay. Joshua, it's been a week and a half. Should I do a water change or no? Yeah, I mean, you should do weekly water changes, ideally, on your tank. So if it's been a week and a half, then yeah, I would definitely say to do a water change. Okay. Oh, there we go. Somebody's answering that question. That's good. That's good. Oh, it's jumped up again. Oh boy. Just give me a minute. I'll try and find my spot because we've jumped back up again. Boy, I'm behind. I am way behind. Oh my goodness. All right, I've lost my spot again, guys. I'm sorry. I'm trying not to skip questions, but it keeps skipping up. So if I do, I am really sorry. Okay. Guppies. We were at the guppies, weren't we? So. You've grown so much with Corey Shepard. Yeah, I think that day I gained about 40 or 50, although we average about 40 or 50 subs a day anyway. And I think that day we did jump to about 100 and then we went back down to our regular 40, 50. So, but yeah, we're averaging about 40 or 50 new subs a day. So, oh, Claire, hey Claire. Congrats on your subs. Another great live stream. Thank you very much for joining us. Is Noah watching? I bet he's in bed. I hope he's in bed. It's really late. Really, really late. Okay. Shrimp in a 2-gallon. How many fish do we have? Well, we have, I don't know, do you know what? I honestly don't know without taking the time to count them. We have a lot. I do know we have 3 goldfish. No, we have, 4 goldfish. But other than that, without taking the time to count them, I lose count. So, but we have a lot. We have 7 tanks. So, and some of them are beta community tanks, and then some of them obviously are divided and single fish in them. So, all right. So, any suggestions on how you deal with goldfish aquarium in warm weather? I have 2 large tanks, and I'm in New Jersey, but water temperature goes to 82 because of the heat. We're in the same position. In that our water gets to about 80, and I don't find it bothers them at all. But I do find that you do need to feed them more because obviously the metabolisms are working a lot faster. And I do try and keep the room as we have our air conditioning set at 78. I couldn't think of the word then. We have our air conditioning set at 78, and our tanks usually run at about 78 to 80. And I haven't found that it's made any difference to them, but you do have to feed them more. So, and then when I'm sort of putting the water back in on a water change, I do make sure that it's as the same as possible. So I've not found a difference, but where I got my fish from, they were brought up in really warm temperatures, so they were used to it from the beginning. I don't know if that's the case for you or not, but if it is, then they can adapt, because goldfish actually can live in much warmer temperatures than people think they can. But obviously if it does start getting up there, then that can be a problem. So, but I've not found any issues. I don't know if you've had any issues. If you have, just let me know and I'll pick it up in the comments lower down. Do you ever think you'll upgrade to a bigger sorority tank? Also, what is your favourite type of fish? Well, we've just upgraded from a 20 to a 75 gallon, so no, I can't see us going bigger than the 75 gallon. So, and as for what is my favourite type of fish, obviously beta fish, clown loach, and then the denison barbs. They're definitely, I would say, probably my favourite fish. So, okay, so how long before rot tail starts growing back? I was putting my beta in aquarium salt quarantine Daily water changed for 8 days, and now he's back in his tank, but tail is still torn. Okay, if it's torn, is it fin biting and not fin rot? There's a big difference between the two. Fin rot, you will have sort of like a black edge going round it, and that is sort of the tail like rotting backwards as it, rotting back. But if it's torn and sort of more stringy and chunks out of it, then that is actually possibly fin biting, in which case you need to take a look at sort of your tank setup, make sure that the flow is not too strong. Anything basically that can stress your beta out very often will cause tail biting, but it can also be that if your beta has excessive tail fins, then very often they will actually give themselves a haircut, so to speak, and they will chew their own fins. So I would just say that just check that it's not the fin biting, because there is a big difference between the two, and you need to stop that behaviour, otherwise you won't see a change in the fins. Okay, I suspect one of my betas is albino. What is the likelihood of that? I'm not quite sure what you mean when you say albino. There is the cellophane, which is like a clear, but I'm not quite sure when you say albino exactly what you mean by that. I've not heard of an albino beta fish. I've heard of cellophane, which is possibly what you're talking about, but not the albino. Okay. If you could have any fish in the world, what would it be? Oh, wow. Yeah, my husband just said a puffer fish. And do you know what? Possibly. Yeah, possibly. I love Corey's from Aquarium Co-op. I just love his puffer fish, and I just think that would be so neat. But you do have to have such a big tank, so I don't know. I doubt anything like that would happen. But yeah, I would possibly say one of those puffer fish. I just think he's just so cute, and the way his eyes move and his little fins and everything. So, but I just don't think I could get over the feeding the snails like that. So, yeah. All right, so I think, what else have we got here? My platties just had babies, just looked and stuff on what to do. Well, if you want to keep them, then you would need to try and get them out and put them in a breeder box. But if you don't want to keep them, then obviously I'm sure unless there's a lot of cover, then the other fish will probably eat them, which is the natural thing to happen in tanks. A lot of times, live bearers will give birth, and very often you won't even know because the baby's been eaten before you've seen them. But if you're wanting to save them, then if you get a breeder's box and put them in that, and that will then take care of them. Alright, let me see. Ryan's Fish says, tell me if I'm wrong, I put 2 females together and don't have any problems. Yeah, I mean, you can do that, and sometimes it will work, but it's definitely it's rare, it's not the rule. I mean, with a lot of things, you can get away with a lot of different things, and so I do try and keep an open mind in that it's not a case of, this way or my way or the highway. Animals can surprise us and get along that you maybe wouldn't think do. So as long as they're not showing any signs of stress, as in having the stress stripes, or there's no fin nipping, well then if it's worked for you, that's great. But it's definitely not the rule, in that in most cases it will fail, but it can work in certain situations. So if you've done that, that's absolutely great. Where am I originally from in the UK? I am originally from Liverpool. So, in fact, somebody said that on one of my videos just recently. They put, was I from Merseyside, which is like the county of Liverpool. And I was really shocked that they'd nailed it down to that specific location. But yeah, Liverpool in the UK. Is it okay to put a male and a female in a divided tank? I would say no. And the reason for that is it's like the hormone thing, because fish obviously do release hormones. Even when you've got two males in there, they will still be releasing hormones. So even if they can't see each other, they will still know there is another fish in the tank just because of the hormones. And that goes for male and female. And again, I know that people do it, and I know a lot of people, it does work okay, but very often you can drive the male crazy, and he's doing bubble nests, and the female will get very eggy a lot of the time, and that's not safe for them if you're the one that's instigating that by having them in that setting. So I would say that it's not something I personally would do, because I do think it would cause stress to the male and the female. Okay. The King of Animal Care says, great live stream, thank you very much. Okay. Must have been my... Oh, okay, so people are saying it's coming in and out again. Okay. Dollar per gallon sales. Oh, it's just jumped again. I'm sorry, it's just jumped up again. Let me see if I can find my spot again. Boy, I am so far behind. Guys, I am so sorry, I am so far behind. Alright, let's see. I think I found my space again now. Alright. Tina Lightfoot says, I have a divided 33 gallon long with 4 betas, a divided 10 gallon with 2. I have sponge filters and heaters in each section. They are all doing really well and were inspired by your tanks. Oh, thank you for that feedback. Wow, that's a lot of tanks. That's a lot of tanks that you've come up with there. Okay. Yeah, the dollar per gallon sale is great. That's how we get most of our tanks, although the 75 gallon we did get on a great deal through PetSmart, so that was really, really good. I think that was around Christmas time. They were running a really good deal, and we got the tank through that, so that was okay. Okay, so there seems to be debate on what I've just said over the divided tank. With the male and the female. So, but like I say, I'm going to stand by what I've already said on that. If they can see each other, it doesn't really make any difference. I mean, if they can see each other, that's even worse, because you're just going to encourage the male to build the nest and the female to start producing eggs. So that would be a really bad situation, because if she then doesn't either absorb the eggs or release the eggs, then she can become egg bound, and that can actually be very serious. In fact, it can actually be fatal. So if they can see each other, then that I would definitely say that the situation needs to change on that, because that could be very serious, particularly for your female fish. Not to mention that you would be really stressing out the male in that situation. Anna says, best quality tanks. We actually do all our tanks as what I call separates, and that means that we basically buy the tank, we buy a light separately, we make our own lids. So for me, we use Aqueon, but I'm sure there's a lot of other good options out there, but that's just what we use. The last one that we got, like I said, was through PetSmart, and that was a Marineland, and that did come as with the lights and the stand, but the lights aren't up to much at all. I will say that. I think Corey said the same thing in one of his videos. He showed the light switched on, and it was like, was the light really on? So the lights were not really good on that setup. So for us personally, we just like to be able to pick what lights we put on a tank based on what we're going to actually do in the tank. And very often that can work out a cheaper way of doing it, because you then don't have to start buying lights after the fact. And the same with filtration. Very often, especially if it's for a beta fish, then the filters in a tank can often be too strong or not suitable. So again, you can end up having to then buy another filter or buy different lighting, and that just ends up being much more expensive. So but again, that's personal preference for us. Okay, what are the best ways to feed fish when you're on holiday? because I've heard the automatic feeder can sometimes clog from the condensation. For us, if we go on vacation, it depends how long we're gone for. If we're sort of only gone for 3 or 4 days, then all I do is feed them the day we go, and then I don't feed them again until the day we come back. But if we're gone longer than a week, which we actually haven't done in a very long time, but we actually will be in later this year, we will be going away for a week. And so in that instance, we're actually going to have somebody come in and just feed them once during that week. As far as the automatic feeders go, it's not something I've really had experience with, so I don't really want to talk about that. But again, maybe somebody in the comments has used one and it works well for them. So maybe just see if there's any response in the comments to that. But I've not used them, so I don't really want to comment on that. But that's what we do. We just have somebody come in, and I leave sort of out what I want them to do and how I want them to feed them, and it works out for us. Oh, bye, Laura. You've probably long gone by now, but bye. All right, where are we? Let's see. Okay, Jack. Let's see. I think you skipped my question. Would a canister filter be too much flow for a beta? I can turn the flow down using the taps if I need to, but I'm not sure if that would be good long term for the filter. That's a really good question. We were planning on getting a canister filter for the 75 gallon, but we've actually thought better of it because of the flow. And yes, I do think it would be too much. We've got the canister running on the 55 for the goldfish right now, and when I look at that flow, it would be just way too strong for a beta in a tank. So, and as for turning the flow down, I think you're right. I don't think it would be good long term for the filter. So I would say no, I don't think it would be a good option. And like I say, we've decided to go against it. Because we were planning on getting a canister, but based on the flow rate, we're not going to do that now. Okay. Danny says it's snowing. First time in a few years. Yeah, we didn't used to get a lot of snow in England, but ever since we moved here, it seems to have snowed an awful lot in England. Okay. I'm having difficulties finding fish stores who ship in Europe. Any good ones you know about? I don't, because I'm not in Europe, but maybe, I don't know if Danny's still around. If Danny's still around, I know he's in Europe. I don't know whether he would know, or if there's anyone else on in the chat that could maybe answer that, but I don't know of any because I'm in the USA, so I don't know. How many fish and what kind can I have in my 25 gallon tank? I currently have 3 guppies and fry in it. How many fish and what kind? I mean, that's a personal preference thing, really. I would just say just do your homework on the different types of fish and see what would be suitable to go in with what you've already got. But that sort of thing is very much a personal preference. Oh, it's snowing in England too. Oh, cool. Okay. That's a really wise thing. Rainy Nightshade. My 2 betas get on great, but I always have an extra tank handy in case when mixing any betas. That is a good thing. That's what I always tell people, especially if you are going to set up a sorority with the minimum of 5. You do need to have that backup of all separate tanks in case it doesn't work out, because sometimes it doesn't. You know, beta fish are very unpredictable, and just because it works for some people, it doesn't always mean that it's going to work for others. So yeah, that's a very good thing to have on hand. To be able to do that. Okay, and I think I've just. Okay, I got my beta today and I've done lots of research. I'm wondering if you have any tips for beginners. I would just say water quality. That is the biggest thing, is just making sure that you keep up with your water changes. Usually most betas, when they get sick, it's usually down to poor water quality. That's usually the problem with them. So I would just say, just make sure that you get into a good water change schedule, and if you have the test kits, they are good as well, so that you can just keep up with making sure that your water parameters are good. But if you're doing your water changes, then there shouldn't be an issue. Do I have any experience with frogs? No, I do not. Maybe maybe somebody in the chat, you know, maybe somebody in the chat would be able to help you with that. So I'm being told I am way behind. I'm sorry, I'm so far behind.
Danny's got to go.
Oh, Danny, you've got to go. All right, bye, Danny. Thanks ever so much. Oh yeah, somebody else agreeing with the not putting the male and female in a divided tank. So okay, I think I am going to start scrolling a bit closer to the bottom. Do I still have the Nerite snails? Yes, I do. Do they ever climb out the tank? No, we do have lids on the tank, so they're not able to get out of the tank. So no, we don't. We don't have any issues, but yes, we do have them. I have them in all my tanks. So yeah. Have I ever had cherry shrimp with a betta fish before? I haven't, but from all the research and what a lot of people have told me, they will typically kill them because they're obviously they're bright with them being red, and with them being smaller, they will typically be able to be eaten quite easily by a betta fish. So yeah. Okay, do bettas get bored, and is it okay to change up the decor now and again, or will it affect the cycle if you change? No, yeah, I mean, you can change it up. We do change ours up. I don't do it very often, maybe every other month, maybe I would do it. And also, as far as the cycle, no, it shouldn't make any difference because most of your cycle is in your filter. I mean, it is on your decoration as well, but removing decoration or just doing a bit of taking out some decoration won't make any difference whatsoever. So yeah, you can change it up. I do that so that they don't get bored. And I do also remove decoration because the bacteria, most of it is in the filter and it's on the surface of the glass, it's on your gravel, it's all over the tank. So yeah, that's no issue whatsoever. So okay, I think I'm probably going to wrap it up here. We're coming up just for about an hour, so I think that I'm going to wrap it up here. I'll just answer this last one question. How often do you clean your betta tanks? I do all of mine once a week. Once a week, every week without fail. And I do different amounts within the different tanks. But I do them once a week. Once a week, that's it. What kind of food do you feed your betta fish? I feed the New Life Spectrum betta pellets. And we also feed, I think the ingredients are actually very similar to the omega-1, the buffet pellets, the omega-1 buffet pellets. I do think that they're very similar the ingredients are very similar to that one. And we also feed brine shrimp and bloodworms. They're usually what we do. We also do use the New Life Spectrum community fish food as well, and they do enjoy that. And the girls will eat the shrimp pellets. They absolutely love those. But I try and sort of distract them at the top of the tank while I'm feeding the loaches and everything on the bottom of the tank. So, and then just recently, I don't know whether you guys remember Amber, the orange koi one. She has just been very, very picky with her food of late, and she was getting really, really thin. We were having a lot of problems with her eating. She just suddenly decided that she didn't want to eat the pellets anymore, and so she actually is on flakes, which I hate feeding her flakes, but it's the only thing she will eat right now, and obviously we need her to eat. So she is starting to gain weight again, which I'm very thankful for because I was getting really worried about her. She'd lost a lot of weight, but we finally found something she would eat. She will eat the brine shrimp and the bloodworm, so for a little while we did take her out and we were feeding her up on those, and then we discovered she'd eat the flakes, so she's eating flakes, so yeah. Okay, what else have we got? Can you do a beginner betta video? Yes, I am actually going to be doing that. Somebody else asked me to do that, so Jess, yes, I will be doing that. I do have other videos scheduled because I do schedule way ahead of what I'm doing. But yeah, I will be doing one for beginners because I do get asked to do that a lot. I actually did wonder about doing it as a live stream, maybe actually setting up a tank and going through all the items, and so maybe I'll do that as well. Let me know what you guys think of that. But I was thinking that we might actually do it as a live stream and actually set up a tank. And put a beta in and go through that whole process. And I'm going to do a series as well from sort of start to finish on a tank. I do think that that would be another good one to do as well. So I've got a lot of ideas that are coming up, but the videos do take a long time to make, so I just sort of have to schedule myself. What is a good way to make sure one fish is not eating all the food in a community tank? That is an issue we do have actually. Sometimes that we have we have several. How many females do we have? 6 or 7 in the tank, and out of them, 2 of them they will just eat anything and everything, and so sometimes I do have to actually cup them or just distract them while I'm feeding everybody else. But the others, they're all perfectly fine. But it can be challenging if you've got a community tank. It can be very challenging, and again, that's another video I'm going to do because I get asked that question a lot. But it is a challenge, and sometimes I do have to cup the females, but they don't seem bothered at all. I just do it. I sort of cup them, I feed them, so they're distracted with being fed separately, and then I feed everybody else. But unfortunately, I have 2, and the funny thing is, they're both our crown tails. All of the others are half moons, and they are not in the least bit bothered. But it's the 2 crown tails. They will just go crazy for food and eat just about anything. So yeah, that can be a challenge. But like I say, I am going to do a video on that. So if you watch out for that, but it may be a little while. Okay, do I have to use beta specific conditioner, or is it just a gimmick? It is just a gimmick. You do not have to use beta water. You don't have to use beta anything. It is all just a gimmick. So you can just use just regular water conditioner. We do prefer Prime. That is our preference. And that's just because the water where we live is just so bad that the Prime takes care of everything. But there are many different ones out there. But no, you can use anything. DJ's Beta, I love your channel. Thank you very much. Okay, that would be great, a live stream beta beginner. Okay, that is maybe something that I will put together, but it won't be anytime soon, but it is something that I do think I will do, because I just think that it would be really good to show it from start to finish, and show sort of what you need before you start a tank and stuff. So it is something that I have got set up. Thank you very much, Claire. Thank you. How can you tell if your female beta is getting old? Usually with betas, they'll start to get like a hump, sort of as you go up and over the top of the head. They get sort of what it's called like an aging hump, and that is usually how you will tell. But very often it's just, you know, if you go from the date you got them, and then if you add like 4 to 6 months, unless you bought a baby beta at the likes of Petco, betas are usually, females are usually 4 to 6 months old when you get them. So if you go from the time you got them and then add on 4 to 6 months, then you would just know, you know, the age of them. And betas typically live 3 to 5 years. 5 is on the higher end. They typically live closer to 3, but they can live 3 to 5, and some can live longer than that. So, you know, they do live a long time. People tend to think, oh, they only live a year, but that's not true. They do live a lot longer than that. Oh, I've just skipped again. Okay. I have 4 neon tetras living with my beta, and they are nipping the beta's fin. What should I do? Yeah, unfortunately, that's neons are not typically a good choice for beta fish for that very reason. So if you've got an option to take them out, I would take them out. It's usually, you will only get away with neons in a beta tank if the tank is really large and there's a lot of space, and you can have a lot of neons, because then they'll just usually nip amongst themselves. It might be that you've not got a big enough group, and so they're just, you know, nipping amongst themselves. But I would say to take them out if that's not, you know, if that's not an option, then maybe if a fish store would maybe take them back, if that's possible, and change them out for something else. Okay, guys, I think that we are on an hour, so I am going to wrap it up here. So thank you. Oh, let's see. Thank you. What is it? A lot. Thank you a lot for your lovely videos and personality. Thank you. Really got a lot of good information out of your recent ick video, so thanks, Danish fan here. Oh, thank you very much. All right, guys, I am going to wrap it up here, and thank you so much for joining us. And I will see you in our next video, which will be on Tuesday. For those of you that don't know, we do videos every Tuesday, and then we do videos most Fridays, not every Friday, it just depends if I can get one out or not, but we do videos every Tuesday without fail, and then most Fridays, but today obviously we didn't do one because we were doing this. Okay guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.